Coming to you from the Apogee Grafix studios, this is the Business and Beyond podcast on Next Gen Media. I'm Ashton.
And I'm Tony.
And you are now listening to a National Podcast Association podcast.
Yes, this week, new members.
Yeah, if you heard our last episode, we were talking about big news coming. And that's it. We're now a member officially of the National Podcast Association. You can check them out on Facebook. There's a lot of cool podcasts.
Yeah, there is. And I started following a lot of those guys. And I enjoy listening to other podcasts, get other, feedback, something different than what we provide.
Yeah, podcasting is something, if you compare radio shows or radio stations, it's a lot of the same. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, but there's a format, everyone... Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's a lot more regulated, but podcasts, it's crazy how different one or two podcasts can be.
Yeah.
And I'm actually working with a guy, well, I'm doing the technical side of it because he doesn't understand it all, but he's starting a podcast about, it's a movie podcast, a film podcast about black filmmakers. And we might be promoting that a little bit, but it's funny. He just did one episode, and I'm kind of editing. It's about 20 minutes long, and he had no idea. He's like, "How long is this? Long enough?" I said, "I listen to podcasts that are like political updates. Yeah. It's like an 8-minute podcast, and then there's some that are 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I said, "There's whatever you want, however as long as you feel your point's getting made and you feel heard. Mm-hmm. That's really all that matters."
That's the beauty of a podcast. I mean, just like radio shows, no radio show is exactly the same. Different ones, maybe a 6-hour show, and then these guys may only have a 4-hour show.
No, but I'm saying with the breaks, you have your 15 minutes.
Yeah. But
podcasts.
They're different. They're different as well, though, on radio. So, and your podcast is what you want it to be, and that's the beauty of it. Is you however much time, if you want to sit and talk for hours and hours and hours, there's an audience for that wants to sit and listen to you talk for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, speaking of radio stations, here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, a radio legend passed away today.
Yeah.
Today being Saturday when we're recording this.
Yeah, Russ Martin, most recently on 97.1 The Eagle. It's really sad news. He was found this morning at his home in Frisco.
Not a lot of details right now.
No, there's not a lot. The first reports I saw, they didn't feel like there was any, foul play involved, but they were still investigating, and they were trying to talk to.
The police were there. I don't know. Maybe somebody hadn't heard from him in a while, or what. I'm not sure why the police were there.
I saw that one of his friends was going to check on him. Maybe they couldn't get a hold of him, possibly, and they went to check on him and found him unresponsive. And then he was pronounced dead at the scene. So, super sad news. I love listening to Russ Martin. He's kind of, when we started our podcast, it was kind of one of those influential things for us.
I think that's why we're drinking alcohol right now. We're not doing it to the extent he did. I know he was real open about partying and drinking. I mean, ours is more of a sophisticated type reason we drink. But just kind of he's kind of one of the reasons we do.
The formatting that he kind of went through. It's kind of raw and he just wasn't completely put together. Didn't have to be completely put together.
Yeah, like who cares?
And that was kind of he was an inspiration for us on how we wanted to format him, Joe Rogan, those types that just kind of enjoy sitting and chatting, and it's really sad, man. I hate to see him gone.
Yeah, his show seemed kind of like a podcast.
Yeah,
it's he had people to answer
more like
to.
A Howard Stern type.
He had people to answer to, being on a radio station. That I mean, podcasts, we own this. We do whatever we want. Mm-hmm. But I guess he just had the listenership that said, I don't care. I'm going to do it this way. If you don't like it,
move on.
Like it.
And the numbers spoke for themselves.
So we're going to jump into, I guess, not common, but current events to a news story. Why don't you talk about that?
This week, I guess it's Mattel. That's the maker, or Hasbro. Maybe that's how. I don't know.
It may have been Mattel at one point. I don't know. Maybe Hasbro owns Mattel or vice versa.
I don't know. Mr. formerly known as Mr. Potato Head, is now just Potato Head.
Yeah.
In our new cancel culture, gender neutral, society that we're in.
I mean, honestly, just at face value, I could care less. It could you can call it Potato Head, Mr. Potato, Mrs. Potato Head, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get upset that my childhood I had a Mr. Potato Head. Now it's not called that anymore. As I said, just at face value, not understanding why they're doing it, which I think is stupid, and that there's a distinct minority of people. I don't even think anybody was offended by it, but a distinct minority of people that you're trying to subdue.
Yeah.
Not even subdue because they're not upset, but just make them happy.
Yeah.
But the odd thing is, it kind of covered male and female. They had Mrs. Potato Head. And they had Mr. Potato. It wasn't something that was just men, and now they're Boy Scouts. Although they're Girl Scouts.
But nowadays, everything has to be gender neutral. You can't be boy and girl. There has to be that middle ground. So this is the way they were gonna provide middle ground.
Real quick.
Story everybody's talking about this morning, that big rebrand of Mr. Potato Head. The classic children's toy now has a gender-neutral name, and this morning, as you can imagine, the reaction...
So no more mustache, I guess.
Deborah Roberts joins us now with more.
Yeah, I got female with a mustache.
The bearded lady?
Hasbro is joining a list of companies that are now rebranding products in an effort to be more inclusive. But when it comes to beloved toys, it doesn't always go over so well with the public. While some are applauding these efforts to make Mr. Potato Head more welcoming, others see it as overkill in an age of political correctness.
Stop it right there. I agree with that. I think it is overkill. I'm not going to, write my congressman or senator and say, hey, this is bullcrap. But I don't think...
Was it really an issue?
It's not.
Did somebody go into a store and look at that and be like, bullshit,
nobody cared.
I'm not... I don't agree with this, right?
It's the same reason you had the... Oh, man, I can't even think of it. What was the syrup that just changed? Or the pancakes?
Aunt Jemima.
Aunt Jemima. It's the exact same reason, because nobody cared about that either.
Yeah.
Like the Washington Redskins, you can make a case. Some people were complaining about that.
That's been going on for years.
But the exact same thing's happening.
Yeah.
It's just free advertising.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to be more included. Nobody cared. Nobody was pressured to do anything. But now we're talking about it right here. Yeah. It's all over news stories. They didn't have to pay anything.
No.
All they're doing is saying, hey, we're going to do this.
We're going to change our packaging to say Potato Head.
Half the people are going to say, good job for you. I'm proud of y'all. The other half's going to say, this is crap. I'm never buying Potato Head ever again or whatever, which I think most of those people probably are older and don't have kids playing with that anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a Mr. Potato Head, and if my youngest son, when he gets old enough, wants one, we'll buy a Potato Head, whatever it's
called. Yeah.
He only liked it because it was Toy Story. Toy Story is the only reason Potato Head still exists.
Yeah.
Because most kids would have no idea what a Mr. Potato Head is if they went on Toy Story.
No.
And I understand people's frustration, but things change. You may not like the reason it's changing. I think it's more of a business move than anything that they're getting free advertising, because I guarantee you there's no bottom line that's going to change because they're being more gender inclusive.
Right.
Because it's the same with Nike supporting Colin Kaepernick and all these issues. Yeah, all these people aren't going to aren't going to get business from, but we're in such a split society that the other half's just going to pick up the lost sales. I don't think Nike hurt any, because half the people agreed with it, half the people protested it. No. It's the same thing here. If there are enough people that don't like it, there's going to be that many more people that buy it, because it's, and like we were talking, it's a distinct minority that you're talking about, I guess, transgendered people, whatever the correct term is in each individual case, because they had female and male covered.
Yeah.
But it's going to be, I guess, the more progressive thinkers, and probably, I hate to say it's this split, but more liberal-minded people are going to think it's a great deal as much as the other people are going to think it's a bad deal. Oh. So, it's going to be a non-story.
But is there enough people that think it's a bad deal that they don't buy it? I don't think that that's a negative for Hasbro.
Does Hasbro make that much money off potato heads? I mean, look, I'm already calling them potato heads, but I mean, it's not like it's their normal seller.
So
like they're going to be selling 1,000.
What we haven't told, and maybe at the end of this story it does say, are they cutting out the Mr. and Mrs. or they're just adding in just a potato head product?
I think they're cutting it out. We'll go ahead and keep playing this.
He's been a regular on the toy shelf for nearly 70 years. Back in the 50s, families had to supply their own potato.
I do remember that. Not right. I don't remember it from the 50s, but I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
You buy the accessories.
Their pants off, like parent company Disney's Toy Story movies.
Mr. and Mrs. You gotta keep them together because they're madly in love.
So now it could be Mr. and Mr. We have to keep them together, right?
But you can already do that. Just buy him 2 Mr. Potato Heads.
Rebranding with a gender-neutral name, set to release a create-your-own potato head family.
Okay, so they are rebranding.
So,
a small child potato and 42 different accessories, which will.
Okay, what I get from this is it's not necessarily anything to do with transgenders, not like you being called male or female. But they already have a male, Mr. Okay, so now you don't have to buy a Mr. Potato Head or a Mrs. Potato Head.
You just buy a potato
one.
head.
That's
Well, now what that said is they have the
this is
family.
the biggest non-issue.
Rewind that a little bit and
Children to mix and match and create the sprouting up this fall. Get ready for simply Potato Head. The Hasbro company rebranding with a gender-neutral name, set to release a create-your-own potato head family set. That'll include 2 large potato bodies, a small child potato, and 42 different accessories, which will allow children to mix and match and create the family structure they want.
is that really their intent, or is this
Exactly.
what the
That's
media
what
is
I'm saying.
saying?
You could have just made this thing. Okay, there's 2 big potatoes, 1 little one, and it has all these accessories.
Yeah.
Just say call it the family of potato heads or whatever. And you don't have to say anything about being gender neutral or
Are they saying that, or is this what the news media is
I think
saying?
they are saying that just because they get the news.
Because they want
the
to.
news story. They're not.
They know
They
that-
could have released this and it wouldn't have made. Nobody would have batted an eye. Like, if there are families with 2 dads or 2 moms, they can do this on their. I mean, because. I don't know. Is there a potato, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head family pack you can buy that has Mr. Potato, Mrs. Potato, and the baby?
I don't know.
I don't think
I
there
don't
is.
think
You just
currently.
buy them. You buy them. So you may be able. There may be ones where you can buy both of them together. Just buy a couple different potato heads. You can buy the accessories by themselves. Buy more mustaches and boy stuff, or vice versa. This is the Aunt Jemima thing. Like nobody cares. They're just doing it for free
Well,
publicity.
and they mentioned
that's fine with me. I'm not getting mad about it. It's
No.
a business decision. They can do whatever they want, but that's what this is.
Yeah, no, it's a rebrand for them, and they know it. They were irrelevant, and now I can damn near guarantee you this year, or even at Christmas time, that this is going to be one of the hot selling toys this year.
Yeah.
I mark my word now. What's today? Is February 27th. Mark my word
2 weeks from now,
that this is going to be the hot toy at Christmas.
2 weeks from now, it's
Potato
going to be
head.
a non-issue until they come out with it. Then it'll perk
This
back up
is
again.
going to be a hot toy. They know exactly what they're doing by rebranding this like that to make it popular, to make people want to run out, and maybe even make people go out now that they're rebranding it. Let me hurry up and go purchase all the Misters so that when these aren't here in 20 years, I can say, look, I have one of the original Mister potato. You know, like not when it was before that it was gender neutral.
Because it's unlike Nike in the sense that Nike's always selling all kinds of different products.
Yeah. Well,
The amount of
Nike,
people-
Nike. Let's take that. Nike's selling a brand,
Yeah.
and that's it.
So
They're putting their brand on anything and everything,
So
and
the
people are buying the brand.
The people that want to say, okay, I'm not shopping there because they're making, or I'm not buying those because they're making it political.
Yeah.
How many potato heads were they buying? I mean, general, how many
Exactly.
people, or per person, per capita, how many potato heads do you buy?
Yeah, exactly.
How many have
There's
you
not
bought?
one in our home.
I-
There's not
I-
one in our house.
Ours, we have 2 because it was a Star Wars brand, and that's where you get it. Not many people buy the originals. They'll buy little quirky things, and
You know what would be
our kid
interesting?
wanted a Mr. Potato because he watched Toy Story, and we found one and had 2 of them, and it was excuse me, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. It was, I guess, a Darth Vader because he had the black.
Oh yeah, I
and
just
then the
saw it
white
when I was
one.
looking on him. Yeah.
And then the white. Gosh, I'm gonna get killed by nerds.
The Skywalker.
No, not Skywalker. What?
The
Stormtrooper.
Stormtrooper.
Stormtrooper. I knew that. I just couldn't think. It had Darth Vader and Stormtrooper lightsabers, and that's why we have two.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason. But there are going to be more people who said this is a great thing. They're being so progressive that are going to go out and buy it because of that, or the people that are going to go out and buy it because hey, they
There
know
may
the
be
market,
or a nostalgia thing or something. Yeah.
So they're going to get a boost from that more than they're going to get because I guarantee you'll see it on Facebook, fake news that Mr. Potato Head sales down 100% or whatever. They'll have something crazy like.
It depends on
I saw
what
Nike
media, yeah.
saying they were filing. I saw stories, or I didn't click on it, but stories being shared that Nike was filing for bankruptcy to the Colin Kaepernick support backlash. Or all no, that's not what's happening.
Yeah, the percentage of people that stop supporting those brands, I would imagine you're going to have that same support that'll come back to supporting those brands.
And we don't take political stances on our show because we're pretty neutral because we don't want to alienate anybody. Because we're not. This isn't.
And realistically, we are just neutral. We see both sides for what they are.
Yeah.
And we don't agree or disagree with one side solely.
Yeah, the side I lean to, I'm not looking at the other side and thinking they're the enemy.
Right.
And just a quick segue, nobody should.
No,
Democrats and
absolutely
Republicans are not
not.
enemies.
If you 100%, you shouldn't 100% agree with our show.
Yeah.
You shouldn't 100% agree with the way we view business because it's not right. I don't think you can't. The only thing you can 100% agree on is Christ himself. That's the one thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I concede you that certain politicians are thinking certain ways that are dangerous, but as a whole, Republicans and Democrats should be a team
Yeah.
trying to make things better, not enemies. Because overall, everybody has the same end goal. We just believe differently how to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
If that's your lesson for today, your humanity lesson from
Yeah.
Business and Beyond podcast. But in general, we could take a political stance way far one way or way far the other, and our ratings may spike a little bit because whatever side we agree to, they say, you know what, I agree to that. I'm going to take a stand because everybody thinks the country's going to shit anyways.
But then again, you have the other side that's going to be like, oh, well, no, fuck these guys.
Well, what they're going to do is they're going to
it's all
protest
gonna-
us,
it's
and
all
our
gonna
name's going to be
balance.
out there.
Yeah.
We could make a huge political stance, and
Yeah.
it would probably help our ratings. We're not going to do that because that's not what kind of gimmicky show this is.
Yeah.
But that's exactly.
But sometimes when you're a company like Hasbro that you need this spike, you're pulling everything. You're pulling the rabbit out of the hat, and you're going to see what's going to happen. Hey, let's take a chance on a big political stance thing that's very big in our country right now, and let's see if we can capitalize on that. And
Now-
I really have a feeling it's going to work for them.
Now, I do agree, though, because I know that people are yelling at us right now with your cancel culture comparison. If they would have taken the stance the opposite direction, they would be getting a lot more heat
Yeah.
than they are now. That's just the way we live in because, like I've mentioned it before, that you think of the opposite. Not all Democrats are socialists and not all Republicans are racist.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think those two are inclusive at all. But that's just, the obvious choice you're saying. But you're talking about any political, pro-life, pro-choice. If you're thinking some of the opposite person, you're calling them a baby killer or somebody who doesn't want women to have rights.
Yeah.
It's like, well, neither of those are really the truth. You're just
Yeah.
going one way to the other. And that's really what this is. I'm not looking at Hasbro, Mattel, whatever we were talking about.
Hasbro.
Hasbro.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at them. Okay, they're this liberal company, and they want us to all be socialists, and they how most I guess people would feel. I guess if you're real into politics, it's a non-issue. It really is. People don't care. It's a business stunt, and they're just using what's, like you said, what's hot right now, what's in the current political climate.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's for sure what they're doing. They're trying to capitalize on that, and I really do think it's going to work for them. I really think it will work for them. So, let's segue into our sponsor for the show.
Oh, I got you. I hear what you're doing. Yeah. We've had this guy on before. I don't know. I was trying to think of a more creative thing to say. Creative director. That's
There you
what we're
go.
talking about.
A creative. I think that's how he
had this
described it.
creative on
Creative, yeah.
This past year, and we'll have him on again eventually. Director Parada.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he's at Director Parada on his social media platforms. It's
Yeah.
David Parada is his name. He, if you want to do
A complete
promo
creative.
videos, that's just
videos.
right off the top of my head.
Really,
I
I
think
think
of that because
anything.
that's what
He does logo design, promo videos, photography. I mean, pretty much you name it in the creative side. As a content creator, he's your guy. He's top notch. If you look up his YouTube page, we have all that listed here.
Facebook page, and that's. I did not know your
Hype
your
videos.
Banner. Is that what do we still call it the banner? He has a video up there.
Video, yeah, that's
I didn't
pretty
know you could
badass.
do
I'm
that.
looking at that
But
too.
yeah, he's got
Wedding videos, hype
video.
videos.
There was looks like a rock concert, high school sports. I know he's from Alvarado.
Yes.
Alvarado, Texas, and I've seen a lot of his videos he posts on Facebook for playoff videos for Alvarado, the Indians. For I've seen football. I'm watching it right now. Alvarado football is kind of going through in their basketball, but I think he does it. Yeah, there's another team. I don't know who that is, but it's not Alvarado. But
Yeah, he follows a lot of
videos.
high school sports and videos for them.
But it looks like, I mean, he's a photographer too, but a lot of these videos he's just making on top of photos just for a wedding. This is crazy. You wouldn't even think you needed this.
Yeah, like
Just all these little videos.
cinematic. Oh yeah, when we talked to him, remember I just saw it popped up, the music video that he helped direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. And I mean, really, any type of content creation you need, this is going to be your guy. I mean, he's inspired me a lot just in the little bit that we do for our show and for our businesses. He's been very inspiring for us. So.
And absolutely anything. I know we're trying to hype it up, like, no pun intended, that he does hype videos, but really he talked to us. We're not going to too much detail about it. He can keep everything clean, but he's done photo shoots for husbands and wives or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you need a hype video or if you just need pictures taken,
Maybe you need that hype video for the bedroom too.
Yeah. If
he
you
could
didn't
probably
know what
help
I'm
you.
talking about husband and wife pictures. He's done special pictures for that. I'm just going to tell you, I would need professional pictures for that. If you get those kind of pictures, yeah, you're right. Let's take another drink. This is getting way out of.
So
at Director Parada.
At Director Parada, look
His
him
link
up.
will be below.
Be sure to let him know that you heard about the show from us, or you heard about him from us on the show.
Yeah, you said it right both ways.
Did I? Okay.
It works either way. I'm not a grammar
Potato,
Nazi, so
potato, right? Like,
that's it.
no pun intended on that.
Mr. Potato Head, Mr. Potato Head.
So, something we posted this week on Facebook and it actually got a lot of interaction was a quote from Elon Musk. And he once said that to stop being patient and start asking yourself, how do I accomplish my 10-year plan in 6 months? And he goes on to say that you'll probably fail, but you'll be a lot further along than the person who simply accepted that 10-year plan.
Yeah, and when I started, what we do when we do show prep is one of us will tell the other, hey, this is what we want the show to be about, and give a little bit of stuff, but not really go into detail because I'm going to do different research and I'm going to have a different angle on it. And this may be the same for you, but I was looking on ways you could speed up your goals in business. And I think the story about the potato heads actually kind of, I don't know what their goal was in this, but other than more publicity, but that's something that I'm going to kind of bring up about maybe doing gimmicks or something outside of the norm, product change, things like that.
Yeah. You sit back a lot, and I have, business owners ask me sometimes, what do we do? We're trying to come up with a business plan, and you want to have all your ducks in a row. You want to have everything figured out, all your books ready, just everything figured out before you actually start business. But I think that holds you back. I mean, that's your 10-year plan, right? I'm going to spend a year just putting all these things. I'm going to put letterheads. I'm, working all these things up, work up a complete business plan. But sometimes you just need to hit the ground running and just charge full force. And as things come up, that's when you develop them. You develop systems, you change systems. Because I can tell you the way I run business now is completely different than the way I ran it 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And, I've been that guy that spent a lot of time trying to put all the pieces together before I actually would hit the ground, especially with Apogee. I tried to plan, and for 6 or 8 months just spent, that was all, nothing else, just coming up with all these strategies and plans, and that really held me back in that 6 months when I should just hit the ground running and just let it all, work itself out, because your plans are going to change anyways.
There's nothing wrong with being prepared to an extent, but just use this podcast as an example. We were talking about, we started this last March, we were talking about summer of last year, before we get this started, and we had a lot of plans, but I think we just said, screw it, let's do it. Yeah. We had everything set up, and I don't know if we made the decision right then. It's like, let's just start recording, and if it's crap, we just won't do it. Or we just won't post it. Let's just practice. But we did that first show.
We did it, and it was crap, and we decided we were going to post it anyway.
Yeah, at the time, I don't think we thought it was crap, but compared to now, if you go back and listen to our first show.
There's a lot of things we're still dealing with as of even coming into today. Hopefully the audio is a little better than it has been the past couple of weeks. We're still working with some new equipment and trying to dial everything in just right.
We went
and make
from
everything
new equipment to new computer to new studio all at the same time. So it was
too many things new at first.
There was a lot of scientific things going on. Let's just try, see if this works.
And we still don't have it dialed in completely, but it's hopefully better than at least what it was last week. But that's how we did it. We just hit the ground running, right? We could sit back and just say, well, we're not going to post a show, or we're not even going to do a show until we have this all figured out and dialed in.
And you never will.
Well, exactly. You'll always find an excuse that it's not good enough. Who gives a shit? We've talked about it a lot in the past. Quit worrying about what everybody thinks and just go and push. And that's how you take your 10-year plan, turn it into a 6-month plan. You run through it and you learn, and when you fail, everything you've learned in 6 months, you can turn around and in 6 more months figure it out and make the corrections. And you only invested 1 year versus 10 years of making mistakes and not being able to correct them for 10 years.
Yeah, and you were talking about business owners asking you about having business plans and things like that. I compare it to my normal goals, just my personal goals, to just daily improve myself. You have to have different term goals. Yeah. I have goals for today. I drink a gallon of water a day, or I try to anyways. That's a daily goal I have. I have a certain 10 to 15,000 steps I have to take a day. Not have to, but that's my goal. And then I have weekly goals. I want to go to the gym 3 times a week, every week. Some weeks it works out. If I work out every other day, I can get to 4 times, but I want to go 3 times a week. Then you have your yearly goal. I'm not shooting these off the top of my head. I prep this, so if it sounds like I'm just my yearly goal to read 20 books this year. I read 20 books last year. I'll at least read 20 books this year. So you can break that down to a monthly goal. How many books do I need to read a month? Or whatever. And then you have your 5-year and your 10-year goals. And you should have that as a business. You should have your daily goals, whether it's, hey, I'm going to get 1 new customer today, or, I'm going to sell this much today. And then you have your monthly goals or your quarterly goals, maybe increase profits by 5%, depending on, what your business is. And then maybe a year or 2-year goal, open a new location or start or maybe it's your side hustle and your 2-year goal is to quit your full-time job and move to that.
Yeah.
That's, first of all, you need to have your goals set up like that. You can't just have long-term goals because it's taking baby steps. We talked about this before. You need short-term goals so you can accomplish more things.
Build momentum.
Build momentum. But you need those long-term goals to keep, because you can't just go day by day.
No.
I have customers
it's a little reckless that way.
Yeah, I have customers, they build houses, and you'd think they'd have it all set up. But they'll call me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and say, hey, I need this material. First run tomorrow. You didn't know you were going to need, you have plans on this house. You didn't know you were going to need this. I can't get it first. You have to, I talk a little differently than that to them, but it's, for a business, especially a small business or a side hustle, you have to have goals broken down like that. Now that's when you go, okay, my 10-year goal, or in Elon Musk's case, or your 1-year goal, you want to move that up. That we can talk about ways to accelerate those.
Yeah, like you said, if I want to turn 10 into 5, Let's just cut it in half even. What does it take you? And that's what you have to have some sort of a plan. Where do I want to be in 10 years? Right? If it's your side hustle, you just thinking out 10 years, in at least 10 years, you want to be doing it full time, if that's your goal, right? Okay, how can we do that in 5 years? Or how can we do that in 2 years? Or how could we do that in 6 months? Well, it makes sense for us. We spoke about it a few weeks ago, and we've continued to discuss this, and we've been talking with some other people about this, is if you want to escalate that, why can't we flip this? Instead of saying, I have this full-time job, and I have to have this stability, and this is just my side hustle, we flip that. We're going to make this my full-time, and we're going to get a part-time just for a little stability, because we know this is going to work, right?
Yeah.
If you can flip that, you can make this transition faster.
Yeah, you just have to jump out and do it.
You just got to jump out and do it.
It's going to be a risk.
It always,
And
yeah. But it's going to be a risk now, or it's going to be a risk in 10 years.
But that's why you have your short-term
Nothing,
goals.
I can promise you, nothing changes now, from now to 10 years, no matter what the amount of business you're doing in 10 years, nothing changes that risk level.
Yeah.
The risk level's the same.
And to have that 10-year goal, you have to think about it.
Yeah.
To do that, you say, okay, this is what my goal is. Shoot for the stars, whatever you want. Then you just start backtracking. Okay, to work this full-time and not have to have a full-time job, how much money do I need to make from it? How much money do I need to pay myself? And you figure that out. Okay, well, how much money do I need to make for the business to be able to pay myself, be able to pay all my bills,
And to have
a
capital
little
to
bit
grow.
extra? Yeah. And then what do I have to do to get that money? And you just break it down until you get to, and then those are your goals. You're like, okay, well, now this is my 1 month goal, my 1 year goal, whatever. And then you can go from there. Now, whether it's cutting out waste, or looking, I guess, if you sell products, what's your worst performing product? How much money does that cost you?
Yeah.
Or go to what's your best performing product? Because if you're going to expand, you're not going to expand on your worst product.
No.
You're going to expand your products maybe. You maybe see, okay, what's hot right now? What's going on? Maybe I should do more gender neutral stuff like potato head.
Yeah.
That's what's going to, if you want a new a new market.
Customer base. Yeah.
Customer base. You say, well, my customers are this to this. You're like, well, this is a big customer base, like teenage girls or whatever, depending on whatever your product is.
Yeah.
In my area, there's this many people, you need to do your market research. You should never have a goal that involves expanding without having market research done. But hey, there's a big amount of people living in this area.
Yeah.
This is that customer base. This is what they age, race, whatever. How do I tap into that?
Exactly. It makes me think about someone like our buddy Anthony with his gaming trailer and Hawks Rental Services and with his water slides. Right. So this is nothing. I have no idea what his plans are. So nobody take this literal. I'm just thinking, right?
And if he does change it in the next 6 months to exactly this, we demand payment or credit.
Yeah. So what would be, his thing? He needs to do some market research. He needs to see. He's in the event rental services. Okay. What events? Maybe he knows or needs to know what events are going on. Am I only doing birthday parties? Am I only doing family reunions? Am I going to get into more of the, what I would call commercial or retail type sector of, okay, let me get in with schools. Let me get in with, local children's agencies for the products. What other places can I go with this in my service area?
Yeah, and we've seen recently he was going to do tables and chairs, and
Yeah.
he may have had that as a long-term goal. I don't know how long that's been in the works, but he goes to events and sets up water slides or gaming trailers, and he's thinking he sees the need for that. So,
Yeah.
well, maybe he saw other people or talking to them. Yeah, we rented these tables and chairs, or he saw a need.
The
they
need.
didn't have
We
them.
don't have them. Yeah, we could use them.
That's just something else, and I do that. Being a salesman at a building materials company, theoretically I could provide every single part of the house.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of parts that I can't get for cheaper than others, so it just doesn't make sense. But that's what I do. If I'm selling them the framing lumber, I'm trying to plug in windows. I'm trying to plug in sheetrock. I'm doing all the little things because if he's got to buy it from somebody,
Yeah.
so why not is he buying? Why wouldn't he buy it from me?
Yeah.
And that's what Anthony's thinking is well, if they're going to have a big enough party and they need to rent tables and chairs, now maybe they have somebody they can borrow them from. But if they're going to pay for that anyways, why don't they just pay me for that, and it's one less person you have to deal with.
Yeah. No, that's the way I look at it with Apogee Grafix as well. Is a lot of my competition, they're going to have minimums. And if you don't meet that minimum requirement, they're going to either charge you or they just won't perform the service, right? They won't provide graphics, decals, whatever they're doing, wraps, if you don't meet that quota. So I try to market to, I can cater to the smaller orders. I can cater to these one by ones versus I have to have this big mass. Now I can handle the big mass, no problem. That's where you really make the money. But I'm not going to turn a customer away for a small order just because it doesn't meet. I have a certain minimum, that would need to be met, or I have to charge certain fees if that's not met. And that's something through my market research that I found is that's a need. There's a need for, if you want, a sheet of stickers, you don't need hundreds, you just need a sheet of them, a few. Okay, I'm going to do that. Now, it's probably going to cost you a little bit more just because of the time, the setup for that, but I will do it. I won't turn the work away, but I'm not going to be astronomically higher just because it's a small amount. I cut my margins down a little bit, but
yeah, and the bigger guys aren't going to see that as.
But what that turns around is it turns customers back into the large orders, to this, to this, to this. And really what I also do, and it's not so much out of the box or new thinking. A lot of people do this, but I cater to what my customers ask for or want. I don't set a product line. If they come to me and say, here's one. I do a lot of product like your decals, right? Your banners, signage, kind of your typical sign shop and graphic designs. I'll have a customer I do signage and banners for, and he came to me and said, hey, he owns a gold and silver, he trades gold and silver, sells gold and silver and bullion. And so he said, I need something that I can put my stuff on, like a mouse pad type, but I need it big for my table. When I go to shows, I want to lay stuff, and when people come by, pick it up, they look at it. I don't want to just slam it against a hard table. I want something soft to go on. It's like, man, I don't know. I mean, you're just talking about a big mouse pad. He's like, yeah, that kind of material. Can you print on that? Can you do it? I'm like, give me some time. Let me research it. So luckily, he wasn't in any huge hurry for it. I said, hey, let me look and see. So I found where I could get gaming mats, like the big, full-size desks. They're, 2 foot by 3 foot type, gaming mouse pads, essentially. We can get those we can print on. So it's like, man, here's this. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's good. Here's kind of the cost on it. And he's like, yeah, let's try it. We designed it up, printed it, and now we've done, 10, 12, 15, 18, I've lost count now, but we've done a bunch of them for him now, just because I took a chance on, I'm going to go out and find a product for you, and I'm going to take, we're going to print it up, and now it's turned into tons and tons. He's been able to turn around and get people turned on to purchasing, and now that's one of my items I offer is those custom gaming mats, mouse pads, could do all different sizes, completely custom designed and printed.
Yeah, and you never know what customers are going to turn into.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've had customers that they came to me because I would answer my phone. And the company they were going towards just, I guess because they don't build a lot of houses right back to back to back. And then sometimes it's, a month before they can build it. And they don't know. It's a real small business. And we're planning on doing it this time, and it may take a while. It's, it's hard to get a hold of them. So they start letting me do little bits of stuff. And because we service them, I call them, I treat them just like I do my big customers. They give me a lot of business. I'll sell them lots of stuff that the other company can sell them for cheaper. But they're just going to go with me just because they can buy them all from me, and they don't have to call and hope he gets back with them within a few days so they can get their order placed.
Yeah.
And I'm not advocating for throwing unnecessary resources at small customers, but taking their orders, treating them the same. I mean, I'm not gonna say okay, I'll answer the phone because it's one of my big customers, but they're calling. Oh, I'll call them back later. That's probably just
Mm-hmm.
You never know. Maybe their business is expanding and they're ready to, or consolidating everything, and they're ready just for one person or one company to service them. you never know what they turn into.
Yeah, no, I think it's you finding your niche and what works. You know, for me, you know, I can only speak to myself because that's the only business I really know of, you know, in detail. But, you know, I can have a customer come to me and be like, man, I want this to be a $300 order.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, I just want this, like, this customer comes, what are we going to turn? I'm hoping we can sell them into $300 worth of stuff, right? We put something together. I come in, okay, yeah, you know, this is about $150, and they're like, you know what, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
And they add more, and then they add more, and before you know it, it's a $250 order. And it's like, man, look, I didn't have to sell them on it. I gave them a good deal. You know, I worked with them on it, and was able to expand that to more, and that helps to build my momentum. And now, I mean, you know, just recently, I've been turning a lot more business that way, and it's helped my revenue and I've found ways that I can keep my costs down as expanding. I start low, and then as we expand that, you know, our profit margins get higher the more items we're adding to that.
And you never know who those customers know.
Yeah.
Because you look at big companies like Kroger and Albertsons or Coke and Pepsi. Yeah, they're rivals, but that's not necessarily how it works with small businesses.
Yeah.
Most of who they know, they're friends with the same industry. Like, I can't tell you how many customers I have that have really good friends that are also home builders.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, oh yeah, I tried this guy. You know, when you treat somebody right, just answer their calls. And like I said, you're not, you know, buying them lunch every day or anything like you may with bigger guys, but you just treat them right. You treat them the same. Don't ignore them. And I have a customer who has a cousin who's a builder, and like between their whole family, cousins and aunts and uncles or whatever, they have 4 different home builders. And I'm just thinking, why did they not all combine into whatever? But I've done something with each one of them, little bits of stuff, and for other reasons, price wise, we're not full time customers, but they're friends, they're family members, they're in the same industry, and you never know.
Mm-hmm.
And not only look at it from that side where you could gain their business, look at it from the other side, you piss them off. They say, even if it's something little and like everybody makes mistakes, but that's one bad experience, and they say, yeah, never use them. They did this, and now you don't even have a chance to get a customer.
Yeah. If you were to ask me how I could escalate my business plan and take it from what Elon Musk says from a 10-year plan to a 6-month plan, I think the number one thing any small business could do is to hit the social media hard. Really put together a marketing plan. Don't over-evaluate your marketing plan. Just start posting and putting out content and just going absolutely crazy with it. Don't judge that, oh, this isn't perfect, this photo's that. Don't worry about it. Just get it out there and continue to post and post and post and post. Maybe not even on the same, hit at different times. If you're going to schedule posts, schedule them at different times of the day. Every time you post, schedule that at different. Don't hit the same, 11 a.m. or 12 or 1 or 6 p.m. Mix it up, okay? Because you tend to find that anyone that gets on social media, of course, nowadays, people are just about always on it. But a lot of the base, there's going to be certain times that they'll get on, right? Whether it's early morning and then around lunch and then around dinner time. Mm-hmm. But if you only post at those times, that's the customer base you're going to hit, right? You assume that when you post, they see it, but once it gets far enough down their feed that you're not going to see it anymore. So mix that up a little bit. Do some at 8 a.m., maybe even some at 6 a.m. for the early risers that get on and jump right on their phone. Have something go at 6 a.m. Then have a post, then in a couple days or something, or the next day have it run at 8, and then multiple times throughout the day possibly.
And you made a good point.
Mix
about
that
6
up.
a.m. If you're thinking about who your customer base is,
That's exactly right.
That's probably who's going to be awake at 6 a.m. You're thinking, well, the morning rush. I'm like, well, those people are working for somebody else, so they're driving to work at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
just know your customer base, like we talked before. Mm-hmm. Like depending on what business you are, maybe your target customers happen to be people who stay up late or night owls, maybe posting. I'm not saying pay for advertising for those particular times of night, but maybe just post.
No, just
your
making
normal
those free posts. Yeah, we're not. There are ways you can pay for that, and you're not going to find from us very often that we're going to try to sell you on going and investing, even though investing on social media advertising is one of the cheapest you can do. I think that you can still organically post for free, and by using, especially with Instagram, Facebook, the way it can link together, and you can schedule those posts. And you could schedule posts for every hour of the day if you wanted.
And get a good inner circle.
Yeah.
A lot of times those posts stay higher up on people's feeds when you have more shares and likes and comments. And I know people who I'll see their post and I'll just like it or share it, and they do the same thing with me. Just know that people are doing that with, if you're a small business owner, that's probably your circle anyways, having other small business owners. If you don't already have that agreement, just kind of say, hey, like all my posts, I'll like all your posts. It doesn't cost anything.
That's all I need. If you see my
like
stuff,
it, share it, comment.
Yeah, do you mind just hitting the like button, and every once in a while, give me a share, please. That's it. Don't feel bad about reaching out to someone and being like, hey, do you mind just, and especially if it's someone that does already like quite a few of your posts, say, hey, do you mind just every time you see my post, just hit the like as you're scrolling through.
Yeah, especially if they're
just to help keep it.
Yeah,
and tell them, hey, I'll do the same for you. I'll help push your business too. You help push mine. That's all I'm asking for. And we have those, and we haven't even reached out and talked to people. It's just kind of organically happen, and it's really cool with our inner circle that it's just started to happen. And that's.
You people know who you are.
Yeah, you do. We really appreciate you guys a lot.
Keep it coming. We'll keep it going.
Yeah, but you're right. Build that inner circle. I think social media to really escalate your business plan. Social media is going to be key for you.
Social media is it. It's odd that it's one of the greatest and worst things ever invented, and I think for the most part it's great. Whether it be for small business or just keeping up with old friends or grandparents, seeing pictures all the time of grandkids and their kids, and unfortunately with politics and social issues, it gets bogged down a lot where people don't want to be friends, and people don't even want to be on social media, and they're getting kicked off for sharing things and going to Facebook jail. There's definitely a dark side, but social media, you can't be a small business owner and not have social. If you're relying, I guess it depends what business you have, but I can't even think of one where it wouldn't benefit you to have a Facebook and an Instagram or a Twitter, or at least have multiple streams.
Yeah, for sure.
Free advertising, man.
Yeah, it is free, and I would say to make sure you mix it up. Don't always post the same thing. Even in industry, like for me, the stuff I do, a lot of it is the same type of products. If I'm taking pictures, or videos of my products, it's pretty much the same type of stuff. But I do like to mix some things in there. I've gotten through inspirations from David Parada, kind of some content creation, kind of motivational video type things, maybe with slideshows of my stuff, but with some music or different things. Try to mix that in there once in a while, just so people see other things, different, just so it doesn't seem mundane and just them get tired of seeing, this guy, it's the same stuff, right? Try to mix that up a little bit on what you, maybe if your business, you're just sharing posts, you're just trying to build traffic to your site is what it's going to come down to.
And going back to the Elon Musk quote, talking about turning a 10-year goal into a 6-month goal, which is a tall order. Changing a 1 year to 6 months. But it's not really the point of you fail if you don't get that done in 6 months. It's the point of just doing everything you can. And if you end up getting that 10-year goal into 2 years or whatever, you're still accelerating.
Yes.
It's whatever the goal is going to be. If it's a 10-year goal, it's obviously a big deal. Opening a new location, quit your full-time job, something like that. But it all starts with the baby steps.
Yeah. Well, and there was a quote by Gerald Ford once. He said that never be satisfied with less than your very best effort. If you strive for the top and miss, you'll still beat the pack.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what Elon's talking about, really, is just go for the top. You're going and you're going to go fast. And if and when you fail, you've learned more in those 6 months than your competition learned through their whole duration.
Yeah, and a quote comes to mind. I'm not even going to attempt to try to say it the right way because I'd botch it. But basically, it doesn't matter where you are in the future as long as you're not in the same spot.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, you learn. Maybe you push real hard and it turned out it was too soon, but now you know the steps. You shouldn't, as long as you didn't lose a bunch of money, you should be fine. You just, backtrack a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go at this different angle this time.
Yeah.
But at least you did it. It's always better to regret something you did than regret something you didn't do.
Yeah.
Well, in most cases.
Yeah, no, you're right. Actually kind of forgot what I was going to say.
I know sometimes I'm just sitting there, I'm
Like
waiting. I'm waiting to cut in as soon as you.
But then I'm
you do it,
engaged
and
and listening.
yeah, and then you forget where you're going. Hey, it's better than going off on a tangent and getting off on another tangent and forgetting where you were going with it.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes, but.
Yeah, I still can't remember where I was going with that.
So no, it's pretty blanket advice we're giving. I mean, feel free to message us if you want advice on your specific situation.
Yeah, we'd love to walk through it with you. We'll help you all along the way. Number one, you have to with that 10-year. I mean, to even start to decide you want to escalate something, you've got to have an end goal in mind. There has to be something you're striving for. You can't just hit the ground and run because, if you don't have a goal in the end, then what do you don't know, you can't grade how well you've done or even where you're at if you never set that end goal.
Because look, if your small business is a restaurant, compare it to David Parada's. Our goals are completely different. Your 10-year goal or 5-year whatever goal may be to open a new location or expand your building or bring a new menu item. As his is probably, okay, I need to buy another camera. My goal is to, do so many photo shoots or videos every week or something like that. They're completely different goals. But at least my best advice, and it's how it works for me, is just shoot for the moon. What do you want to do? Whether you think it's possible or not, this is what you want to do. Now, you can backtrack it and eventually figure out that's impossible. That's fine, whatever. But just start.
Yeah.
What is your top goal? We can adjust it later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to get to that, what's the obvious step like we talked about earlier? Get this much in sales, get this product, whatever, and just backtrack it.
And you also have
your
to
daily or weekly goals.
And you're going to have to be realistic with that as well, because there's some things you just can't scale at the same rate. Whether they're going to take extensive amount of money, large expansion. There's going to be things that can't happen in per se 6 months. Maybe. And
that's why I say take your 10-year goal to your 6-month goal, because labeling it a 10-year goal, that can hold you back too. Say, well, that's going to take 10 years. It may not take 10 years. Give yourself room.
Yeah.
Don't, like you said, you don't think of it as a failure if you don't get it in that time. But if you're shooting for that, you're going to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Like maybe you have a 1-year goal, and in that 1 year, you're where you thought you were going to be in 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, you're still 6 months ahead, so give it another year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, always be striving for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes are harder than others. So, if you're struggling right now because of the pandemic, or you happen to be in North Texas and you took a hit from the snowstorm, this is probably not the time to make your 10-year goal your 6-month goal.
Yeah.
But you always have your goals. You're always looking forward. You're a bad business owner. You're a bad entrepreneur if you don't know what your next step is going to be.
Yeah.
Whether you're going to make that next step or not, but you have a plan.
You need to have a plan of action.
So when things are going well, or when I think of it, okay, I have my daily routine down. I'm kind of bored now. Let's add something else.
Yeah.
What's the next step? Like I said, starting to drink a gallon of water a day, that took a while. And then starting to do the steps. I didn't just start, okay, day one, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. You do one thing, and once you have that down, you have it down. Add something else.
Yeah.
And that can be the same way with the business. Just, you have all your goals. I'm not saying pick the easiest and just start. No, have your goals listed out.
Yeah.
And then you pick the easy. You pick the quickest one. It's just like having a checklist. What are you going to get done the quickest? Don't go for the hardest yet. Do all the little crap you have to do.
It's building a snowball. You build it small. You start small. And then momentum. You build that momentum, and as you start rolling down the hill, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
And then you say it takes was it 21 days to build a habit. So eventually that stuff just becomes second nature. So maybe it's, selling a certain product. I need to sell this many every week, and then eventually you get to that. Okay, it's no problem. You have that customer base coming in. You have 10 people walking into your store, whatever your goal is. This many new customers. Once you start doing that and you're used to it, it doesn't look like a challenge anymore. You have that down.
Yeah.
It's going whatever situation you put into motion, or which I don't know the right word for it, lack of a better word, situation you put in, and then you're used to that. That's your new thing. You just continue to build on it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of which, if you have new products, a new product, or just maybe your main product you want pushed out, we're talking about social media. I think reaching out to podcasts is a great way to do it, because maybe not certain podcasts like Dave Ramsey or Joe Rogan, huge ones.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of your just local podcasts like we are, although we are in 7 different countries. But
yeah.
Reach out to them, because they are, I would think they'd be more than happy to help you out like we do.
Yeah, I think so.
A lot of product reviews we do absolutely for free. You just send us your product or information on it, and we can work on that.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight's product,
we've got a set of these COS over-ear headphones, and these were actually sent to us from the through the partnership with the National Podcast Association. Sorry, I didn't want to botch that.
Yeah.
Through the partnership they have with COS headphones, which, if anyone doesn't know, COS headphones is the oldest brand of stereo headphones there is, and I don't know.
You didn't even open these or anything.
No, these is a brand new, man.
I thought you would at least do prep. Okay, so,
No.
So maybe fast forward here for no. Let's see how long. I'm just gonna rip this box open.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna look up this information. I should have pulled this up before.
Yeah, this box is gonna be trash here in a minute. I don't know if you like keeping boxes.
No.
Sorry for hurting your ears with all that. Normally we may pause and skip forward this, but we're on video on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, we like to keep it real here and not do a lot of editing.
This is a full out, unboxing.
So I'm actually going to. The cord is not attached. That's pretty cool. So this is a good case. I'm gonna actually.
COS, while you're working on that,
and put these on and check.
while you're working on that, COS was founded in 1958. The world's first SP3 stereo headphone. They were created by John C. COS. And the oldest stereo headphones. It's still around today.
Hopefully we don't have to charge them.
I don't think they're powered. I believe they're just over the ear, plug in. They work.
The big head.
Are they working there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear them in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if they're not powered, I guess they're not noise canceling. They have a microphone and.
So you have to figure out how to turn these up. Yeah, this is a legit box opening. We have not even looked at these or done any research on these. I mean, on how to use them, anyways. Well, they work. I just have to figure out how to turn them up, but. No, they sound good.
Well, they may be different than the ones we're using.
Yeah, they're not the noise.
Ours are noise
well,
canceling.
Mine are like way over the ear.
Yeah.
Like I took those off and it was my ears had to pop. But no, these are very comfortable.
Yeah, they're nice, sleek. Are they using a 3.5 millimeter jack? Is that what's?
Yeah, that's all I
plugs into. Yeah.
All I had to put, plugs straight into it.
Yeah.
To our equipment, it works just fine.
You got a mic there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that affects the audio. I guess I sound just the same.
Yeah.
The mic's different. We have to do more practicing on them to see what kind of benefits we could have from them, but they're not as bulky as the ones I was wearing. So
yeah, pretty sharp.
Nice, comfortable.
Yeah.
Very breezy. Those were pretty warm when I took that off to put these on.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see those. Let's.
hear them, or I didn't know how little I could hear until I unplugged it. I'm like, oh yeah, I can't hear anything. And as you can see, mine are a little bulkier. Don't talk because I can't hear you right now. Until I get this plug back. There we go.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, not the powered noise canceling, but
Well, it is a lot quieter and a lot of feedback you don't hear on there.
Yeah.
You just kind of get the distinct, like, can I hear them? But then when you unplug them, you can definitely tell you could hear it.
yeah. Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah, it seems like you need to turn them up a little bit, but
Yeah, we can probably do it on the
unplug it
soundboard.
while I'm talking, and you'll be able to
Yeah,
hear
you
the
can tell
difference.
it
Yeah.
was there. Yeah. Let's just plug into my.
We have a lot of different equipment here. I know we'd figure out the best way to use it. We might plug it up directly to the soundboard rather than. I mean, yeah, that's what we should have done. Just plug it up. That's
I'm gonna
right.
plug it to the
because
iPad and see.
because most of our listeners probably are going to use it for a podcast. Nice and clear. Do we know what these retail?
You know, really with this. Yeah, I don't know what we'd have to look that
They
model
have
up.
different models. Yeah,
Yeah, they have
it's
different
hard
models.
to say.
I mean, honestly. Hey, here's some news. The stimulus
news.
stimulus checks just passed through the House.
So by the time you're hearing this, it'd be old news. But yeah,
Yeah. 14 minutes ago.
great. So we get a tax refund and stimulus check the same week, probably.
So. Yeah. The House passed it. Hmm, hmm.
I can hear you.
No,
It's probably playing through that. I was like, I can hear that, but it's probably because you.
Oh.
Yeah, probably through the mic.
Finally, not one, but
Yeah.
No, I can tell you with the sound on these coming through, they are somewhat noise canceling to the fact of the sound is in.
Yeah. Well, like the ones I'm wearing, it's if I unplug this, I almost can't even hear you talk.
Yeah,
When
no, that's
you're
how mine
talking.
are. These aren't even plugged into the soundboard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
so you probably
can't.
can't really. I mean, you can make out what I'm saying, but if I just start talking like this
No,
really
it's-
fast in a conversation, you have no idea what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Well, you did because you answered me. But
Yeah, so these, yeah, I think there's just some solid headphones. I don't know. Did you look up what this model, the cost on these are?
I didn't. But I think over ear headphones are coming back.
Yeah, I think so.
Like,
No, these are not.
I like them
These
a
are
lot
not
better than the, what do you call them, in the ear, inner ear, because after a while when you're wearing them, my ear starts to hurt. So I like the over the ear headphones now. Especially if you do podcast or radio, it looks pretty cool. On camera, if you're watching on YouTube, I look really like a professional radio DJ with these things on. See, if I had AirPods,
So
it just wouldn't be the same effect.
these are not the powered, so they're not going to be wireless.
Yeah.
But you know what I do see here is they have connections on both sides.
Yeah.
So that you can split. If you had another one of these cables, you could split your sound from here to another set of headphones,
Yeah.
or switch the sides. Yeah, I mean these are very, very good,
So
flexible.
they're probably not for your just average if you want headphones. It's more for if you're really into listening to music or maybe a DJ
I
or
mean, maybe as long as you could plug them in with the 3.5 jack into some. I know some phones don't have that anymore, but
yeah,
as long as you had a
it's
way.
really annoying with iPhone. You have to have the adapter and then you can't charge
But-
at the same time.
Yeah.
You need a splitter and which bravo by iPhone to do that to make you buy all that extra
Okay, so
those extra adapters.
know why these don't have the model on the box, but the best I can tell, these are the UR42i, and this is on koss.com, KOSS.com. The UR42i's, and they are $49.99. So
Very affordable.
very affordable. I mean, I'm telling you, this is very flexible. It's rubberized with this aluminum.
I mean,
know,
they're good
adjuster.
quality headphones.
They're
I mean,
very
you
good
can get.
quality.
I have headphones that I got off Amazon for $15. They're wireless, and they do the job when I listen to podcasts,
Yeah.
when I'm walking or running or whatever.
And some people prefer to have this for the quality of it.
Yeah,
I mean, even my Beats are wireless.
And you're not worried about charging.
But on these, if I want to do it with the phone call with the mic, I still have to have this. Otherwise, I can't do wireless calls without the cable.
You can, but when they answer, you gotta like, hold on, let me change the setting.
You know,
the
these could work for that. I mean, yeah,
but
these
no,
are solid
that is
headphones.
a thing. If you're somebody who didn't, if your headphones, you gotta unplug your phone to charge your headphones, and sometimes you forget to charge them. You don't have to worry about them with this.
Yeah,
It just depends. I mean, wireless does have its benefits, but really, you think, would you pay extra for that? I mean, there are benefits to having wired, not only charging, but the quality, as you said.
Yeah, I think these could be a solid. And you know what? I'm actually looking on their website. I'm assuming you can buy these. So some of the headphone sets they have for a microphone, like for gaming, and that's what you can use this other port for. It plugs in and it has a microphone that splits out of it as well. So you can only have it coming in, but then you can plug in your own. I don't see that part by itself. I'm sure it's on there.
Oh, it's a part. It's not a headset of headphones. It's extra. It's like an add-on or adapter.
You can buy the headphones with that, but I'm assuming you could buy that piece separate. I don't see it. You could look it up, and they have tons of styles and colors of headphones, all very affordable.
So that's another option for podcasters who want to save some money. If you're going to have headphones and do it all in one, because I know a couple of guys who want to start podcasting.
This has the built-in mic. It'd be fun doing your podcast. Plug it up to your phone, your iPad, run your podcast just like that. These are absolute great headphones for podcasting. To be honest with you, I prefer the nice over-the-ear. Before in the other studio, we had some on-ear headphones. They were good, but the over-the-ear just seemed to isolate all that sound, back to you, and I prefer that, especially for podcasting.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to have the headphones.
Yeah.
When we first got these mics and plugged it in, they worked without the soundboard, but you didn't hear yourself like that. That's kind of an issue for me.
And that's been some of the work.
I've had a background in doing internet radio and things like that, and I've always had the headphones where that's how I know when my mic's at the right level. I can hear myself talk. That's when I know
tell when
everything's
you
going.
Clip.
I know if everything's working properly. I can hear you through these.
Yeah.
It's so much better. I mean, like when you have multiple people, we have Tyler on. Tyler's a different distance than you are, but I hear y'all exactly the same.
Yeah. And that was some of the issues that we had that we've been working through as well, is getting in it this week for us at least is better, that in our ears the sound is coming through better.
Yes.
Because in the past few weeks it's been a little challenging. It hasn't been at the right levels, and
we appreciate that feedback.
Yeah.
For the ones even if you don't know us or we don't know you, send us a message. Whatever, however you're listening. If you're on YouTube, Anchor, Apple, what else do we on Spotify? We're on so many different plethora of podcasting
Breaker,
platforms. Yeah, on any of those, you can just click right there and leave a comment to us and say, "Hey, thanks for providing the show for us to listen to. Y'all are great. Tell us we suck. Whatever. We enjoy the feedback."
Yeah, if the quality's not there, let us know. We'll continue to work on it. We're going to continue to tweak and see if we can just continue to give you a better product. But just like we tell everyone, we're not going to judge ourselves on it. We'll keep working on it, but we're going to keep posting content regardless.
I thrive on the haters. Come on, bring it on.
Still haven't, man. We're coming up on 12 months.
I mean, I'll be petty, and at the
you know
beginning
what?
of each episode, I'll call you out. I won't use names. I'll be casual about it.
I'm going to throw this out there.
I'll go directly at you.
It's been, I don't know, was it 9-10 months or so that you were in Galveston? Is that about what
June.
Was that when you... Okay.
June,
so
probably not quite that, maybe 8 months.
I'll be in Galveston the weekend before spring break, the 12th, 13th, 14th. So we may be doing a show.
With you
Me remote in Galveston. Let's see if we can get that down. Let us know, in the comments if you want to see that. If you guys be interested in us doing a show like that.
If you're in Galveston that weekend, you want to meet up with Tony and do a show with him.
Hey, we could do a remote there as long as you're here, and
just don't be a psycho stalker.
Yeah, that's good, man.
But hey, there are a lot of small businesses in Galveston. We'll talk about that later. Make a Galveston themed show.
Yeah, we'll do that here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, so Thank you for listening to this episode of the Business and Beyond podcast. Be sure to, like we said, comment, any feedback. Check all of our sponsors below.
Yeah, make sure you go to cost.com. Check out their headphones.
Yes. Until next time, I'm Ashton.
And I'm Tony.
See you next time.
Later.